Hello everyone. My name is Dr. Elliot Lassen. I'm the Graduate Program Director of the Masters of IO Psychology program here at UMBC. I'm here today to talk with you about our program, our Masters of IO Psychology at UMBC. What I hope to cover in today's session are a few points. Number one, what about our program is great. Then I will describe about the program courses that we have, and at that point I'm going to hand off the microphone to my colleague Rakisha Jones, who's the Graduate Program Coordinator, who will describe the application process and how to move forward. With that, let me talk about the location. As you can see from the map, we are located in Rockville, Maryland, which is the star towards the left middle of your screen, at the universities at Shady Grove. All of the courses in our program are offered in person on evenings and Saturdays to accommodate working professionals at the universities at Shady Grove. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the map is our main campus in Catonsville, Maryland. You may have some virtual interaction with that main campus in terms of our application process, the graduate school, etc. But all of the in-person classes are given at the universities at Shady Grove in Rockville, Maryland. As you can see from the proximity to Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia, as well as Montgomery County, Maryland, we are conveniently located off of I-270. Our program was founded in 2008, and we have a great group of adjunct faculty, and we have a newly minted advisory board, which I will talk about a little bit later. Our adjunct faculty work in the field. They work in capacities of IO psychology, they work in HR capacities, they have teaching experience, they have practical experience, and we're very privileged to have them as part of our faculty to bring in those work experiences into the classroom, and our students have been enriched by that. Some other advantages of our program here at UMBC. We offer a streamlined program, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, of 30 credits towards a master's degree IO psychology. What is also great about the program is that the students are afforded opportunities to take not only core courses and requirements, but they're also able to choose from specialty or elective courses that allows them to cater the curriculum of courses that they take towards their career aspirations and employment objectives. Our courses are aligned to match the business needs and the desired competencies for the job market. Our advisory board is very helpful in connecting what we teach on campus with jobs in the real world. We also offer experiential learning experiences, which I will talk about in a little bit. One of the courses that we have as a requirement that's done at the end of one's education here at UMBC is our capstone experience, which is a very applied consulting project within a real organization that is faculty supervised, and a presentation is given at the very end in lieu of a master's thesis. So these are what I feel to be some very important advantages of our program here at UMBC, and it makes our program a very great one. Many of you who have an interest in IO psychology know a little bit about IO psychology already. One of the distinctions between someone going into IO psychology or going into a related field with a background in IO psychology is the fact that we are using foundations of human behavior As you can see in this slide, IO psychology essentially is the scientific study of the workplace. We are looking at attitudes, behavior, personality, competencies as they contribute to one's career. There is the word psychology, which we will, as you can see from the bottom circle, we apply the theories that we learn about in psychology in general, as well as specific theories to IO psychology in understanding the workplace, understanding the economy, and organizations. You can also see on the left circle of the slide intervention approaches. What we mean by intervention approaches are that the background in IO psychology will allow for observable and measurable outcomes where one can show how a specific program, for example, a program of improvement or training, can contribute to the ROI of an organization. You can see from the slide, from the circle to the right, we are a field that is of critical relevance to business. One of the new trends in our field is for IO psychology, people with a background in IO psychology or human resources, where many of our students go, will become strategic business partners with the organization, with the organization's leadership, to show how IO psychology and HR is not just about the technical aspects, but will deliver a certain value to the organization that will enhance the organization. The top circle is organization development. We are all about enhancing and developing organizations. The last thing that I'll mention is the confluence between IO psychology and human resources. As we will see in an upcoming slide, there is a great deal of crossover between IO psychology and human resources. In fact, many of our graduates will go into careers where human resources might be part of their job title. So what I think distinguishes our program of IO psychology, of Masters of IO Psychology, with programs that are coming from a strict business perspective, is our focus on the individual, is our foundation in the theories of psychology and human behavior. And I believe that that combination has propelled our students as they enter into the workplace with a certain perspective that sets them apart from individuals who are coming from a strictly business perspective. So IO psychology, human resources, they are, I would call it a hybrid field, and our program serves individuals who are going into either one of those tracks. Many people ask me, what are some of the places where an IO psychologist can work? What are some of the contexts that somebody with a degree UMBC could work in? And here I've broken it down into 7 categories. And you'll see some categories that will look probably very familiar to you as, yeah, I knew that IO psychologists did that. But some of the contexts might be a little bit different from what you may have thought. But I think each of these represents places where individuals with IO psychology degrees have worked, including our graduates here at UMBC. We'll just start from the top and work our way around clockwise. The first is consulting. Consulting can range from working for a large consulting firm, for example, a Big Four consulting firm like Aon, Hewitt. That would be a place where an IO psychologist could be employed, and that individual, as representing the consulting firm, would consult with client organizations in order to improve, to enhance, to develop their organizations. One notch down, I would call the category kind of a mid-range consulting firm, perhaps a boutique consulting firm that would focus one aspect of IO psychology, for example, pre-employment testing or job analysis or leadership development. Those niche boutique consulting firms exist here in the Washington area as well as nationwide. So that's the first career context in which an IO psychologist could work. Working our way clockwise, the second would be corporate. And people with IO psychology degrees can work in corporate contexts with human resource departments. They can work as internal consultants. They can work in talent management or talent acquisition, where they are serving the needs of that particular organization. Next would be government. And because of where we're located, some of our graduates will take positions in state government, some in county government in Montgomery County, but in the government being made up of many different agencies, there are people with IO psychology degrees that will work in selection, that will work in organization development, that will work in training contexts, and the same way that you would have for a very large organization, you would have people in HR or IO, you would have that in government as well. There's a bit of a different culture in government that differentiates it from the corporate system, but that is another area where our graduates have gone. The next area is academia, where people such as myself with IO psychology degrees will be involved in teaching, and some of our graduates have gone on to adjunct positions, for example, in the local area. Some of our graduates have gone on to PhD programs that might propel them towards careers in academia. The next would, on the moving our way around the circle, are research institutes. Our area of Montgomery County is full of various research institutes, some of them connected to the government, some of them are independent research institutes, and the individuals in those research institutes might be involved in the research side, but they also might be involved in the HR side of supporting those organizations. Another area where IO psychologists can work is the military, and the military has a certain structure to it, definitely has a distinct culture to it, but there are individuals who will work on the tactical side of HR within the military, but also IO psychologists might get involved in research projects within the military, for example, selection or using biographical information to make predictions about classification within various branches of the military. And finally, nonprofit organizations. Nonprofit organizations are similar in scope to the corporate, although one of the differences is that there is a certain mission base to the organization that would differentiate it from a for-profit corporate entity. So individuals who work for-profits, they will work internally within HR or within learning and development. So this slide, I think, is important to show how many places someone with a degree in IO psychology can work. So the one last point that I want to make about this, I mentioned in this little blurb about HR and careers in human resources. The truth is that the fields of IO psychology and human resources have really overlapped to a significant extent, whereby you have people with IO degrees that are working as VPs of HR or directors of human resources or human capital consultants. So it's important to know that careers in HR do not necessarily have to be called IO psychologists or have the word or acronym IO in them. So I would just end this slide by saying that the field is really very wide open throughout the universe of IO psychology and HR. For example, on this slide there are some representative job titles. You see the first couple do have IO in the job title, and I think let's just go through them one at a time. In many states, including Maryland, in order to call oneself and to market oneself as an IO psychologist, it requires a PhD and licensure. And that's why we sometimes are careful to say that we have a background in IO psychology, but we're not necessarily IO psychologists. And that requires, as indicated, an advanced degree beyond what our program can offer, and it also requires licensure. And this is somewhat similar in other states as well. Perhaps a more common job title for our graduates and other people that are not licensed or don't have the PhD and licensure is going to be an IO consultant. As mentioned in the previous slide, people in our field can work for large, medium consulting firms, as well as being a self-employed independent consultant, and they can market themselves as such and provide services to a large organization or to smaller organizations or to individuals. As mentioned, the area of human resources is one where many of our graduates will go, and titles such as Chief Human Resource Officer, CHRO, or some management level position of HR, which could include VP Director or Manager, would be job titles that our graduates would be able to attain. Obviously, there's some progression there in terms of the level within the organization. Then we have a title called Director of Talent Acquisition or Director of Talent Management. That is a job title that, if you follow HR positions, has become a little bit more popular in terms of being used. It's really just a rebranding of perhaps a Director of Recruiting or Director of Learning and Development, but those are two job titles that our graduates could compete for. Director of Learning Development, which is usually about training, which could be using information systems design or more conventional classroom training. Human Resource Business Partner, Program Manager, and what I would invite you to do is take a look on our website, umbc.edu/IO, where we have under the People tab our list of advisory board members, and I'm going to discuss the advisory board in a bit. You can see the job titles and the organizations that they hold to give you a sense of what careers or what job contexts and job titles are going to be possibly in your future. Let's talk a little bit about the way that the program is in terms of the curriculum. As you can see on this slide, our Master of Professional Studies in IO Psychology is made up of 30 credits, which amounts to 10 3-credit courses. The course requirements include 5 courses selected from the core category, 4 elective or specialty courses, which, as mentioned before, allows a certain amount of customization. And then there is the required capstone course, which is taken at the end of the program, which puts everything together. So if you do the math, that comes out to 10 courses or 30 credits. What are some of those courses that are possible? Now, these course offerings are current, and they, as indicated on the bottom, they are subject to change. But this slide gives you a good idea of what the courses are called, when the courses are typically offered, and that allows you to customize a curriculum as well as come up with a plan of courses. And usually this is done in consultation with an advisor, but it allows you to kind of plan out your curriculum, which many of our students are able to complete a 2-year period. As you can see on the left side, the course numbers and the course titles, we have 5 core courses, one of which are required, but beyond that which is required, you can select 4 out of the other 5 remaining courses towards your core. If you go down to the next category, our capstone course, which is at the end of the graduate experience here at UMBC, and as you can see, it's offered in both the fall and the spring to accommodate students who are graduating in either of those semesters. And the capstone course is typically taken at the last semester, so given that it's offered in both the fall and the spring, it allows the student to graduate in each of those semesters. Now take a look at the elective or specialty courses. So you can see the diversity of courses that allows a student to kind of pick and choose and customize his or her curriculum to align with career interests. So for example, if a student is interested in getting more advanced knowledge in statistics, we have our advanced statistics course. If a student is interested in strategic planning within an organization, we have that as an option. We have 2 courses that are training oriented, which include the instructional systems development and principles of training and development. Those are the last 2. As you can see, there is quite a bit of customization that is available. You can also see that we do offer summer classes, although somewhat limited, but students who are interested in taking specific classes in the summer, such as our course in change management or job analysis, it also allows the student to take additional credits in order to complete the program in the projected time period. So this is a very good slide to kind of keep in mind in terms of planning out your course of study. As mentioned before, the UMBC program is special in a variety of ways. Let me point out a few of the various opportunities that we have available. First of all, as indicated before, and the advisory board members are listed on our website, we have an outstanding group of professionals who are executives in corporations, in nonprofit organizations, in the consulting world, people who are the chief human resource officer of their organizations, who provide our program with guidance on curriculum. One of the exciting things that I'd like to point out with the advisory board is that our advisory board members are very much invested in our program and have arranged for mentorship meetings with our students. And we have really some groups as part of that advisory board, which allows our students to conduct informational interviews as well as continue a relationship with our advisory board members as our students will progress in the program and launch their careers in IO or HR. So I would invite anybody on this webinar to take a look and see who our advisory board members are and what they do. We also are involved in partnerships with nonprofit organizations. The Society for Human Resource Management, which is an international HR trade organization, has local chapters in the various cities and regions of our country. This year, this academic year, 2016-2017, we've launched a sponsorship of the Montgomery County Society for Human Resource Management, which allows our students to attend events. It also allows our faculty to make presentations, professional presentations at Montgomery County SHRM events. So that's another synergy that I believe is very helpful to our students. I'll also mention some of the workshops and events that we've had at universities at Shady Grove. Some of these workshops are in conjunction with the Career Center. So I, as Graduate Program Director, collaborate with our Career Center and give one workshop a semester for the entire universities at Shady Grove community, one on how to prepare for a job interview, and the other is professionalism in the workplace. So that's one example of synergy that we have internally. Another workshop that we launched last fall is an APA-style writing workshop. And our plan is to continue this workshop before the academic year. And for those students, incoming students, who've had a background in psychology, but perhaps it's been a bit of time since they had their last course in APA-style writing, this is, in some respects, a refresher workshop that will benefit each student as they start their program of study here at UMBC. And that is done in conjunction for our Center for Academic Success at universities at Shady Grove. So it's definitely a worthwhile opportunity to take advantage of. We have certain events that occur at universities at Shady Grove. I'll mention two events. Relative to the advisory board, our advisory board will come on campus once a year for a networking event and forum with our students. That's going to be taking place in May. We also have an arrangement with the Personnel Testing Council of Metropolitan Washington, our region's premier IO psychology group, that will have a workshop at, usually it's in the fall, in September or October, and the event, which is part of their monthly offerings, will be hosted by our program at universities at Shady Grove, and that is a program that brings together members of the PTC community, faculty, advisory board members, and of course our students. I'll mention two other things that I believe also distinguishes our program. Since our faculty, our adjunct faculty, work in the field, very often they are aware of internship and job opportunities. On a regular basis, our faculty will distribute positions. Sometimes it's in the government sector, some will be in the private sector, some will be in the nonprofit sector. So these will be both internships as well as jobs that will go out to students and sometimes alumni if they are more advanced positions. And that is something that we think of as very special, as being able to provide that continued stream of information towards careers and employment in our field. What I'm going to do now is turn the webinar over to my colleague Rakisha Joan, who is our graduate program coordinator, and she will talk about the admissions and the application process. Rakisha?
Thank you, Dr. Lassen. Okay, so now I will discuss the detailed admissions and application process, especially for those who are ready to apply for our fall 2017 cohort. So first, the admissions. So for the admissions requirements, the department bases their decisions on the application's full requirements. So that will include the applicant's interests, work experience, academic background, and any personal or scholarship goals that can contribute to the program. We do not require the GRE for the admissions process. However, for undergraduate studies, the department looks for a bachelor's degree in psychology or a bachelor's degree in a related field with the required prerequisite coursework. This coursework includes an introductory psychology course and a research methods or a statistics course. Some students may not have the specific psychology undergraduate bachelor's degree. However, the prerequisite coursework all are required in order to be admitted to the program. Some students may be admitted provisionally upon completion of this coursework prior to the fall 2017 semester. We also look for, in your undergraduate studies, a minimum GPA of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. In addition to the academic coursework, we also look for students who have working knowledge or work experience in the field. And all of this information will be reflected in all of the required materials. In addition to those educational and admissions requirements, international students, we also look for the TOEFL scores or your IELTS scores in replacement. Any international students may have the TOEFL waived if you attended a university in an English-speaking country or if you hold an undergraduate degree from a U.S. institution. So the components of the online application. So you will submit your application online at umbc.edu/grad school, and there is a $50 application payment which is paid through the actual online portal. All of the application requirements may be uploaded in the online portal, or you have the option of sending them directly to the graduate school via mail or through email. And please note the application deadline is March 1st, 2017 for our fall 2017 cohort. For the remaining requirements, online you will have your statement of goals that you may upload as an application attachment through the academic goals and research interest section. We also require 2 letters of recommendation, and that information can be inputted into the references section also online. You may put the name and email address of 2 references. There is a 3rd section, so you may include a 3rd recommendation provider or simply put NA, not applicable. If you would like to have them send a separate letter on your behalf, then you may have them email it directly from the recommendation provider to the graduate school, again at gradschool@umbc.edu. And all of this information is listed on our website as well. We also require an experience form. This form is basically a form to streamline and capture all of your resume information. With this application requirement, we'll be able to review your work experience that's applicable to the IO psychology field. Also, your residency information will be captured through the residency section in the online application. While there is a section that says upload, so you can upload your unofficial transcripts in the online portal, we do require official copies of your transcript for all admitted students. All of the information, again, is listed on our website for all of the requirements. However, all of the application supported material can be uploaded in the online portal. There are 2 steps to the admissions review process. So I work directly with students on an individual basis to make sure that all of your application requirements are complete and submitted. I will send emails to students on an ongoing basis, incremental basis as well, to make sure that you are aware when your application requirements are submitted and when you actually have a complete application which has been submitted to the department for review. The 2-step admissions process starts with the department review, and then the second step is the final step, which is for the graduate school. You will receive an email notification to notify you of your decision for your admissions process. If you have any questions about your application status, you can email me directly, and my email address will be on the next slide once I complete this remaining information. Again, all of your application required materials will be submitted online or directly to the graduate school, which is on main campus in Catonsville, Maryland, and that is where we will make sure that all of your application documents are submitted. And please note, March 1st is the last date to have a complete application on file in order to be submitted to the department for admissions review. The tuition and fees information that you see on this screen is in reference to the current academic year for fall 2016 through fall 2017. However, over the summer, the Student Business Services Department for UMBC will notify all students of the current tuition and fees for your upcoming year, which is the year that you will be applying for, fall 2017 to spring 2018. All right, so your resources for questions. I, Rakisha Jones, am the Graduate Program Coordinator, and I am your point of contact for any application and admissions questions. My email is rcjones@umbc.edu. The program or curriculum information, you can contact Dr. Lassen directly at elassen@umbc.edu. And again, our website, umbc.edu/io, is a great resource which lists all of our academic, admissions, and application information so that you can review on an ongoing basis to ensure that you have a complete application by our deadline, and so that you can do some research to ensure that this is the appropriate program for you. Thank you, and we appreciate you joining us to learn more information about our program.